because 6 months on the radio was all the FCC and his parole officer would allow, this is the Walt Bonetti Podcast. God help us all.
Welcome to episode 27 of the Walt Bonetti Podcast for February 12th. The Walt Bonetti Podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them, 469-4999, and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver to your home or your office. On today's podcast, Roger Goodell writes back, another church sex abuse scandal, but this time, it's not Catholics. Another innovative king cake hits New Orleans. 5 Louisiana cities make the list of worst U.S. cities to live in. A veterinarian is our dumbass of the day. And a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old test positive for cocaine. But first, these quick hits. A 5-bedroom, 2-bath home in Pennsylvania is drawing attention for an unusual amenity, a furnished sex dungeon. Well, the dungeon is really a basement, but if you're going to get that technical, we can't be friends. The suburban Philadelphia home is listed at $750,000 and was originally marketed as the 50 Shades of Grey house. However, all references to the sex dungeon have been removed from online listings. Valentine's Day is this week, and if your favorite romantic spot is booked for Valentine's Day, you could always go to Plan B, or Plan C, or Plan D, or Waffle House. Select locations across the country of Waffle House will shower your true love in bacon, eggs, and waffles, among other things. Many Waffle House locations will decorate and plan special menu items and activities. Romantic activities at a Waffle House. Does that conjure up some strange ideas? Okay, moving on. Many of us are still reeling about the Catholic sex scandal. Months ago, when this broke, I told you that this wasn't limited to the United States or the Catholic Church. A new investigation found 380 Southern Baptist church leaders and workers, 4 from Louisiana, who were accused of sexual misconduct since 1998. While some of those sexually abused were adults, some were as young as 3 years old. It's sad when anyone in a position of authority, whether they are a clergy member, a church worker, a youth counselor, or a politician like Mike Yanni, preys on our young people. But 3 years old, that goes beyond anything that is humanly possible and is truly, truly sickening. And that's the first time in the history of the podcast, and probably the last, that we've had 3 stories in a row about sex. Maybe it's because it's Valentine's Day this week. Maybe it's the romantic in me. I don't know. But it ends now, okay? It just ends. It has to. The Grammy Awards were Sunday night. I didn't watch. But several Louisiana artists took home a Grammy. Guitar legend Buddy Guy won for Best Traditional Blues Album. Lauren Daigle won for Best Contemporary Music Performance and Best Contemporary Christian Album. P.J. Morton won for Best Traditional R&B Performance. Terrence Blanchard won for Best Instrumental Composition. And Brian Blade won with the Wayne Shorter Quartet for Best Jazz Instrumental Album. Congrats to all of the winners and the nominees as well. We've told you about restaurants and bakeries trying to one-up themselves on king cakes. But would you eat a sushi king cake? Really? Chiba Restaurant on Oak Street is offering a sushi king cake. Sushi rice covered with spicy tuna or crab with salmon, avocado, shrimp, and yellowtail tuna. And if you don't like something, the restaurant offers substitutions. The small sushi king cake sells for $55, and the large is $75. Sushi king cake. I don't know. I still like pecan praline. Los Angeles Lakers general manager Magic Johnson said regarding the negotiations between the Lakers and the Pelicans about Anthony Davis The Pels didn't negotiate in good faith. Aw, we're sorry, Magic. Friday night's home game at the Smoothie King Center was Anthony Davis's first game back after missing 9 games due to an injury. And many fans booed him when he was announced and the first several times he touched the ball. But then those boos turned to cheers as Anthony Davis scored and the Pelicans went on to win. USA Today ranked the 50 worst U.S. cities to live in, primarily based on poverty and crime. Coming in at number 7 was Bastrop, Louisiana. Number 16 was Hammond. Number 22, Bogalusa. Number 39, Natchitoches. And number 40, Monroe. Which is really ironic because the parent company for USA Today, Gannett, owns the newspaper that is in Monroe. Nothing like telling the readers of your newspaper that you live in one of the worst cities in the country. And now this. I don't know about you, but every day, 2 of the most important questions that I have to ask myself and answer are, what am I going to have for lunch? And what am I going to have for dinner? Do I want a sandwich? Do I want to eat a little bit light? Get a salad? Maybe a piece of grilled chicken on top of the salad. Or do I want pasta? Pasta is always good. Or pizza. Or maybe I'm in a calzone kind of mood. Or I want a wrap. Well, you can get all of that at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or you can call 469-4999 and they'll bring the food right to you, whether you're at your business, your office, or your home. It doesn't matter. They'll bring the food to you. You don't even have to drive there if you don't want to, but you can dine in if you want. And they have great service there as well. That's the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. No matter what you're in the mood for, you can find it at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. 469-4999 is the number to call if you want to pick up your order on your way home or have your order brought to your home or your business. That's the Original Italian Pie of Kenner.
What's that? What are you doing?
Painkillers.
Oh, for you, for your leg.
No, because they're yummy. You want one?
Walt Benetti.
Welcome back. Thanks again for spending part of your day with the podcast. Last Sunday's Boycott Bowl, the biggest non-Super Bowl party in New Orleans history, raised $57,404 for NORD, the New Orleans Recreation Department Foundation. At a press conference Friday, New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, who loves making speeches, said, quote, I'm going to try to do it in her voice, in her oratorical style. When we in our city feel like we've been knocked down, it's the spirit of our people who uplift us and show not only to our city, but also the people of the world who we are and how resilient we are. Weren't those stirring words? Really? I know I don't have her cadence down or her emotive style, but, you got to have a little bit of fun, right? We're talking about the Boycott Bowl, which was a great idea and a great way for our community to come together. But then for the mayor to get up there and pontificate about a show in the world, I'm sure the people down in Venezuela put aside their cares about their government and the wild inflation they have and said, hey, look what they're doing in New Orleans. They boycotted the Super Bowl. How cool is that? Hey, you got a spare $150? I need to buy a dozen eggs. Look, we showed the NFL and we did good. Everybody came together, and that was a good thing. The Super Bowl TV ratings in New Orleans were about 1/2 of what they were last year. But let's not get overly dramatic about it. We didn't show the world anything. The world didn't care. And that's okay, too. At the press conference, organizers presented one of those really big checks to Mayor Cantrell. But what is really important to me, what I really want to know, is where do they get those really big checks? I want to know that. Is there a company? I don't see them at Walmart. But every press conference I see these big checks. Where are they? I want a big check. I want a big check that I can cash. I want to grab it with two hands, lug it down to the bank, say, put this in my account. I want one of those big checks. Get me one of those big checks. Maybe for Valentine's Day. That'll be cool. Maybe you can give me the really big check after you buy me dinner at Waffle House. How's that? No candy, no flowers, none of that stuff. Just a really big check and dinner at Waffle House. That's Valentine's Day. That would be the best Valentine's Day ever. Epic. Epic, I say. Over a week after the Super Bowl, and 3 weeks after officiating errors contributed to the Saints' absence from the tainted big game, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has written back to Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards. I guess Goodell's been a little busy lately. Quote, I fully understand your personal disappointment and the frustration of Saints fans across the country. But, quote, our rules do not permit the commissioner to overturn the result of a game because of an officiating error, and I believe it would be wrong for me to do so. Goodell said he treasured the NFL's relationship with New Orleans and reminded the governor that the NFL recently awarded another Super Bowl to our city. The governor has touted the 2024 Super Bowl in his re-election bid as a win for his administration. Although the reality is, John Bel Edwards had little to do with getting New Orleans another Super Bowl. I mean, come on, let's be real here, huh? When are politicians going to stop lying and stop exaggerating and stop touting their fake records? This is nonsense. But Goodell's letter is also utter nonsense. I mean, first of all, it's too little too late. I mean, really, it's a week after the Super Bowl. Like I said, 3 weeks after the game. You could have done something a lot sooner. Your press conference Super Bowl week was nonsense. This letter is nonsense. You know how it is when you break up with someone or you break up with a friend or a friendship ends. And then a week or two later, you get a phone call or you get a letter from the other person. And they say, look, here's what happened. I'm really sorry. I feel your pain, but I just couldn't go on like that anymore. I couldn't. You'd rather they didn't write or call. You'd rather they just went away. That's how the NFL should be. Just go away, Roger Goodell. Come back in August when it's preseason. Let's rehash this again one more time. Let's talk about the Saints possibly going to the next Super Bowl and how they should have gone to this past one and had 2 in a row. And then let's move on. It'll be over. But stop picking the scab. Just stop already. And please, don't write to New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell or the New Orleans City Council or Julie Stokes if she sends you a letter. Just don't do it. We don't need to hear any more from Roger Goodell. Just go away.
Now, the Walt Bonetti Podcast Dumbass of the Day.
A veterinarian who surgically implanted liquid heroin into puppies that were then transported to the United States was sentenced to 6 years in prison Thursday. Andres Lopez Alvarez was part of a scheme led by Colombian drug lords. Alvarez leased a farm where he raised dogs and implanted heroin in the puppies. 3 of the puppies died after contracting a virus following the surgeries. But it isn't all bad news. One of the pups is now a drug detection dog working with Colombian authorities. But for coming up with the idea of surgically implanting heroin into dogs, Andres Lopez Alvarez is our dumbass of the day. An Iowa woman was convicted of murder after her 4-month-old infant died from a diaper rash infection. Police found the baby lifeless in a baby swing wearing a maggot-infested diaper. That's right, a maggot-infested diaper. 21-year-old Cheyenne Harris was convicted of first-degree murder and child endangerment causing death. An autopsy found the baby died of malnutrition, dehydration, and an E. coli infection. You know, I firmly believe that there are some people that just should not be allowed to have children, which leads to our next story. A 4-year-old Kentucky girl passed out in school, and her mother was arrested after she and her 2-year-old brother tested positive for cocaine. 31-year-old Anquita Wright of Winchester, Kentucky, was charged with 2 counts of criminal abuse. The 4-year-old told school officials that she saw something on the floor at her home, picked it up, and ate it. Her mother admitted that she would let a friend sell crack and cocaine at her house, sometimes in front of the kids. After her arrest, authorities discovered Wright is also a fugitive from another state. A New York State dental assistant is in jail, charged with multiple counts of larceny. 38-year-old Arita Gouvakis is accused of stealing jewelry from patients after they were sedated. Gouvakis stole rings and necklaces off at least 2 patients. Gouvakis' family believe her drug problem may have caused her stealing problem. Well, that puts a wrap on today's podcast. Please make sure you support our sponsor, the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them 469-4999, 469-4999, and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver it to your home or your office. As we tell you every day, please go out and be a blessing. Change someone's life, or change your own life. You can do it. You can do both in the same day, but be a blessing. Thanks for listening.
Walt Bonetti,